going into my basketball. Every time I rock, man, this is how we rap and raw. Peace to my man, now we got the camera out. Every time I spit it, cross over the...
All right, hello everyone. This is Josh, also known as Yashu. You're tuning into the 40th episode of the TLOY Talks podcast. We made it to 40 right now. It's an amazing experience right now. I just thank everyone for watching throughout this time and all that, and we'll definitely provide some more like on the way too and all that. You could definitely see it everywhere else too: YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Buzzsprout, a lot more. And we're gonna start right now. So he's a photographer, videographer, producer, creative director who's worked with the likes of Ollie, Marshall Dane, Gen 69, Keep in Touch, and much more too, as well as like Skeevy's Tips, Meyer Clarity, and everyone else too with Ill Vibe as well too. He's actually the festival director for the upcoming Toronto International Music Video Festival, and you'll see like a lot of his stuff like on IG for websites and much more too, even Wikipedia as well too. Ladies and gentlemen, for the 40th episode, we have mac.downey. How are you doing today, man?
I'm doing pretty good, and thank you for the wonderful introduction, man. You got me blushing already, so it's gonna be a good interview.
Yeah, man. I mean, like I had to like watch the other content, from the Secodo stuff. Actually, just right before I like left and all that, and like a lot of it's like pretty interesting too. It's totally like way different from what I've seen in like other like music videos too from like Toronto creatives as well too. So it's like it's very interesting to see like how like that content's like formed and how the color grading and everything else is like important too and all that.
Hey, thank you, man. Yeah, it's like it's been a lot of fun. Like we have slowed down a bit on Secodo just to focus on the music video festival, but it's a lot of great memories right there. Like we'll go into I guess later on, but like just interacting with these big labels, kind of new people, and like we've worked with multiple directors. Like I kind of mainly wear the producer hat, so kind of just putting the pieces together, finding the right talent that matches this artist vibe and so forth. But I don't know, a lot of great memories and just figuring out stuff as you go. Like I got quite a bit of stories of just figuring out kind of how to get this location, how to physically do that. Like shooting on the TDC, it's more work than it should be, among other things. But thanks, man.
I mean, we'll get more into it on that. But since it's like your first time, I always want to start off, introducing people like with the stories like in that sense too, so like how they started like in that sense. So where did you grow up and what was like the environment like for you growing up as a kid? Would you say your childhood was like a blessed experience or would it be different?
It was definitely a good time. Like I definitely had the workaholic father, like he's a great guy, don't get me wrong, but definitely one of those like he's doing the 9 to 8 type deal. You see him on the weekends, but always give him the good advice. Growing up, it's kind of it definitely jumped around. I was always in the GTA. But my parents were one of those where like every 4 or 5 years, we seemed to be in a different house, if not less time. Like I lived in the beaches, kind of the more Scarborough area, mostly North York, Graydon Hall. But I don't know, never was really a big issue growing up because in the end, it's just like this is a different bus route to get to my friends versus the previous one. So never really changed too much for me. Besides now I'm 20 minutes away from him instead of 10 minutes or something like that. But I don't know, growing up was always nice. Like great mom, great pops, all that. I don't know, definitely was say on the more the nerdy side growing up. Like I don't know, I swear if some people do some deep dives, they can find some cosplays of me at Fan Expo dressed as Doctor Strange and other things. But I definitely got more into the arts later on in life. Like I don't know, looking back at young me, like I feel like a lot of people are in this zone. Like we all want to say we were fully, and there's people were in the arts from like 8 years old, stuff like that. But I was definitely in the more grew on me. Like when I was younger, I don't know, just read comics, watch movies, go to concerts, and I kind of fell into the film industry. I don't know, for college, I took 1 year of acting. Going years back, I wanted to be a stand-up comedian when I was younger. Can't say I was that great. I did a few amateur nights, but I don't know, you change directions at some point and all that. And took 1 year of acting, and I don't know, it wasn't for me. Like I had a good time. Great class, great classmates, great teachers, all that. But I don't know, while I was there at Sheridan, sorry, I'm rambling right there, but took 1 year of acting at Sheridan, and I don't know, I kind of watched the film program, was like, maybe I'll give it a shot, and somehow got in the program and led me to here, I guess.
Yeah, no, most definitely. And in your college experience, I think you've studied like videography and I guess cinematography. That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
So like at that experience too, like was that like your first introduction to photography and like videography in that sense?
I actually, yeah, believe it or not, like I really did not play with cameras growing up that much. Like, I got the old digital camera, those ones, but
Yeah.
never really took it to anywhere in professional. I don't know, maybe it was self-doubt growing up, but like, and I was just a dumb kid, I'll figure it out later in life mentality. But even at Sheridan, when I got into their film program, I really did focus on the more the producer side, the writer side. Like they kind of have it so you kind of pick lanes while you're there. You do get a kind of a broad learning of everything, but you kind of pick the lane to kind of specialize in. And I guess I kind of landed in producing because I don't know, like not to shoot down a lot of film kids, but a lot of people are shy, and I kind of got shoehorned into being the producer of Max to be the one talk to locations, find the actors, and I ended up really enjoying that aspect. So kind of got in there. Camera wise, though, I actually only took one camera class. I definitely kind of learned from friends and YouTube tutorials, like to get into camera stuff. Like I just kind of started with the Come Up Show,
Oh, true.
and great publication. I believe they're still under since COVID, but I believe they're planning to come back. But I worked with their social media for a while, and they had an opening one day for a concert shooter. No one was available. It was for I don't even know I don't know what to describe them as. Like I'm blanking on the right word, but they're more out there rap group horror, and they spell with nines
Yeah.
instead of them.
I actually shot their concert June of 2019. Actually, they opened up for Ghostmain at Opera House and all that, and I actually shot that on behalf of another publication called like Music Why Not and all that. And because I've always wanted to be on at those like publications too, like Come Up Show, Spill Magazine, like all that type of stuff too. I think I tried like even like sending some emails a while back too. I think they were still like in the process of working on like other stuff at the moment too. But I definitely like appreciate the other publications that I worked for. But yeah, no, like I shot their show at Horror and Ghostmain at Opera House, and it was a good vibe. Got some good like flicks from it and all that too. And like I think I had some reposts from the duo as well too. So yeah,
Hey, that's dope, man. And seeing Ghostman as well. Like
Yeah.
I shot Ghostman years back when he was at Adelaide Hall, or I don't know if they
Gotcha.
changed the name since then, but I don't know. You experienced it. He's
Yeah.
quite a wild live. Like
yeah.
I remember it was one of the first shows where I'm like, I'm gonna break my camera. Actually, no, I wish there was a pit, but like the whole time you're just holding up your camera while praying some mosher doesn't actually
Yeah.
elbow you right there, and like, oh no, just wild show. And
Yeah.
I guess shout out Ghostman because that was a great show.
Yeah. Nah, but like it's pretty interesting too, like in that sense too. So I think like even from that experience, going to like not Humber College, Sheridan College, my bad on that.
No
And
worries, man.
just like taking that time to like learn from school, like what have you like learned that you kind of use like in your real life and all that?
From Sheridan College, or there's just my belt. I had a bit of lunch here. Good.
Yeah, no
Sorry
worries.
about that. But sorry, what's the question again? My apologies there.
Like from like schooling and all that, like
Mhm.
what have you learned that you've kind of like implemented like in your creative stuff like right now and all that?
Okay, like I guess Sheridan, the big thing I learned is like I did focus in the producer lane, and I don't know, it sounds silly, but you don't really realize until you actually start producing videos and all that stuff how much paperwork, how much scheduling, just I don't know, people skills are involved. Like I don't know, you forget that a lot of labels really expect that top quality of just like your paperwork, not just the final product, but like that professionalism. So learning how to write the proper contracts, writing how to actually do location release forms, talent release forms. I think Sheridan really helped with that aspect, and we had a great producing teacher there. Um, God, his name was John. I'm blanking on his last name right now because I'm an awful student and I can't remember. But I don't know, he really did open some doors and like learning just how to write out some proper contracts, make everything seem professional. I guess it is professional, but kind of go that extra mile above being that. I don't want to say like those run and gun shooters because they are great, but once you get to that threshold, there really is this expectation a lot of these labels have of you. And if you don't make them, you say the wrong thing in an email, they'll drop you right there. Like in the end, it's a business for them. Like we're the young kids trying to make it in the industry. So I don't know, they only have so much leeway with you, or easygoingness before they kind of step in and be like, well, you said the wrong thing. I don't like these numbers. You missed a clause in that you should have had in your release form. So I really got to shout out Sheridan for teaching me that stuff. Great thing about Sheridan is it's very hands-on. Like I can't say I know much of the other programs at other schools, but I know Sheridan is known for being very hands-on. Like from first year, we're doing projects. I might be mistaken, but I believe Ryerson doesn't start doing like actual video projects till 3rd or 4th year. Sheridan kind of out the get-go, you're doing big projects, and by 4th year, you're doing your largest ones. But I don't know, you learn a lot. They also kind of throw you into the wilderness. Like in 3rd year, I produced a music video for an artist called Kwame XYZ. It was a student project, so it did not get released. Great guy. He was kind of more, and he was letting us do a project for him, and we wanted to have a real artist opposed to just kind of having our friend lip syncing a song. But for that, we had to get a TDC bus. We had to book a downtown parking lot in Hamilton, and Sheridan kind of really threw us in there. Like they gave us kind of an outline of how you do it, but I don't know, having to actually go out there, meet people, write up the contracts, make sure everything's booked and all that, because a lot of people don't realize this going into film school. You still got to pay for a lot. Like they'll give you the equipment, but a lot of the projects you're paying out of pocket, and it's great when everyone's like, we're already broke, but we need $1,000 from the director producer to actually pay for it. Like, God, I believe that parking lot. Thankfully, great guy. God, I'm blanking on his name because we only exchanged a few emails, but he knew we were students, and he was willing to do it for a cheaper price. But still think it was around $800 for the day. But he said his real rate for like movie crews is like $5,000. So I was very happy for his discount. I don't know, good folks right there. But I don't know, Sheridan really kind of threw us in there while giving us guidance. But I'm really appreciative for Sheridan kind of really pushing us out the door to do stuff, because I don't know, if I kind of left school and just had none of these real life experiences, I feel like it wouldn't have done as much for me in the long run. Kind of be starting from scratch in a lot of ways if I didn't have it.
No, I definitely know what you mean, man. And, you know, like even in that sense too, like when you got into that process of becoming like a multifaceted creative in that sense too, like what made you decide on taking like seriously into like the next level?
I think the next level, it's kind of that realization like most creatives have, where you realize, this is doable. I don't know. Every creative will say we have a lot of self-doubt when you get in there. Like there's a lot of days you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, stuff like that. And, if I had to jump to the one project, it really kind of made me feel like, shit, this is real. I can do this. Is in 3rd year, I produced a documentary for a documentary short on Drew York, super talented concert photographer, super talented journalist. I believe now he's touring with the artist Talk, actually. Yeah. I mean, he's killing it left and right always. And I was a huge fan of his work for a while. Kind of did a shot in the dark email one night. Hey man, we got to do a documentary short. I'd love to do it on you. And he got back to me, and I guess he was such a nice guy that it kind of removed the fear. Like a lot of time you're just kind of scared to reach out to these real industry people. And he was such a down to earth guy, great person, great personality, super intelligent. Like this guy, he just knew music. And documentary went great. We followed him around for some shoots on different concerts. We got access to bring our camera to shoot some concerts while he was shooting concerts. So it was pretty funny to kind of see another guy. He's in the pit shooting a concert, and by a videographer at the time, Sinam Z, walking around with this big camera following him, not shooting the show, but shooting the actual guy, taking photos of it. And I don't know, it was a great experience. I met a lot of great people, a lot of great artists, and a lot of people were just, I don't know, it sounds silly to say, just nice people. Trying to think of the exact, I'm trying to think up, sorry, this language right there, but like, remember at his release party, Dylan Ponders was there. God, I'm the worst at memory on names. I think
Just John,
that's
was
exactly
like,
it.
and then I think some other people too, like it's interesting to see like where like that comes from too, because initially when I wanted to become like when I started photography, videography, and then like also this content creating, like I had like a lot of like crazy influences on who I wanted to not like work with, but like who I want to take that inspiration from and all that too. And like, I've seen people like Drew York, like Maggie Elizabeth, like Harrison Haynes and all that too. Like who else? I think this other guy who like shot for like the Raptors and all that too. A T-Dog Cam as well too, and then like an Anton Mack, and like like that's kind of like the whole like OG phase of like concert photographers like in that era too, and like even like add like Ryan Bolton too. So it's amazing to see from there. And like with Drew, it's like from seeing his like content, like the Drew York show, like it kind of helped me like being like taking it to like a next level too, like seeing like this dope content and like how I could like apply it from there, because Drew also had like some good like interviews he did like in the past too, and like I interviewed like one of the people like that he sort of interacted with to Kato. So and just like seeing that, it's like very interesting to see and all that, you know.
Yeah, and just I don't know, it's just like you forget how nice and normal. I mean, not normal, but you forget how like down to earth a lot of people are in the industry. Like, there's really that fear, but once you start meeting them, you realize, hey, they're just like you and me, and maybe we can pull it off. And now I'm remembering, just sorry to go back to that. It was Flex the Anti-Hero.
Sure.
He's a rapper out of Toronto, kind of rap rock type vibe.
Yeah.
But like, I remember he was at Drew York's gallery, which is
Yeah.
kind of the finale of her documentary. And I was a big fan at the time.
True.
And I don't know, Drew introduced me, and I remember Flex being one of the nicest guys ever. I was super nervous, but like, I don't know, that was the big moment where like, damn, these are, I don't know, the down to earth people, you know.
Yeah.
I don't have to be as scared to like send them casual DMs asking if you'll
Yeah.
work and all that.
Yeah. Most definitely, man. And like I think like the goal you already mentioned, like that you wanted to do, like when you wanted to grow up, you wanted to become an actor. Is that correct?
Yeah, like I guess I had a kind of a small dream. Like I wanted to be a stand-up comedian growing up. Like
True.
used to watch a lot of stand-up, and I don't know. I did a few amateur nights, and I kind of went to college. They had a 1-year acting program at Sheridan. I was still figuring out myself, and my parents were definitely in the point of like, you should just go to school, do something. Like I don't want you loafing around doing nothing.
Yeah.
So I took the 1-year class after maybe doing 5 amateur nights at stand-up, and the class was more for acting. They kind of made me believe, like, it was still a great program, don't get me wrong, but they kind of made me believe that it was going to be more everything. It was definitely more on the acting side. I thought it'd teach me more stand-up. And it was a great time, like, but I kind of learned as I was there, like, acting isn't for me. Like, I'll be naive. When I was younger, you know, you want to be the movie star, you want to do that. And then you kind of get there and you realize, like, it's different than what you think. Like, it's not as much of the fun part. You got to really want this. And like, you got to really believe in acting. Like, some of these guys I worked with are fantastic. Like, one of them I know is doing stuff right now, Tony Tran. God, I know he was in a few episodes. He was in that movie Work It and a few others for Netflix, but he was in my class, and he's a dedicated actor. Like, and I guess I never really met that. Like, I still enjoyed it as a casual hobby, but I kind of realized, you know, this is not gonna be my long-term thing. Like, you know, I like telling jokes, but this is a lot of work, and I can't think of enough things. But I don't know. Then I kind of dabbled in talking to people in the film program, kind of realized this looks cool. You know, I love film. Maybe I make the decision to go behind the scenes, and the next thing you know, I'm here, I guess.
Yeah, I know what you mean, man. And do you have like any like inspirations in terms of your creative journey? Like, who would you consider?
Oh God, if I had to go like favorite directors, like just going off that, like kind of an oddball in some sense. I love those B-movie cheesy stuff. Like definitely love my 80s films. Like John Carpenter is definitely up there, top 5 for sure. Like, you know, I love everything he's done, from They Live to The Thing to Assault on Precinct 13. Like, I don't think he's ever had a miss for me. Even his silly stuff. Like, I don't know if you've seen Vampires on Mars, but it's like, it's Ice Cube fighting vampires on Mars, and it is a silly, fun time. Definitely not I can't call it a good film, but you know, I had a blast. Joe Dante, I love. Like, he did The Burbs, Gremlins, original Piranha. I don't know, most people kind of say Christopher Nolan and all that stuff, but I prefer these silly guys quite a bit. Like James Gunn's probably the same zone of right now. You know, thinking of creatives on kind of the music video side, like I don't know, I've always been a big fan of Speedy Mormon, like at Complex. You know, he just seems like a great personality. The things he does, like, yeah, I forget the name of the show, but I know he does do that show on HBO about like streetwear and all that stuff. I don't know, I'm really inspired by kind of his come up, like gone from journalist to kind of building his own show to kind of have his own empire in a lot of ways. So yeah. Sorry, I'm blanking there and rambling.
I think for me too, as far as like directors, I like the Coen brothers. Like, I think they have like a lot of like classic films. Like I think Barton Fink was like one of them too. Also, what's that other thing? Fargo. Like Fargo was like another great movie that they did as well too. And then also like they've all this other one the Big Lebowski and all that, like they've always had like some good ones. I mean, I like John Singleton and all that, like as well as like the Hughes brothers too. And then also I think this other director for Goodfellas, I think I kind of blanked out for a bit too, but he's like a mainstream one. He did like The Irishman too for a bit.
Scorsese.
Scorsese, yeah, like he's also pretty dope too. Tim Burton, like I've seen this one movie from him that had like Ray J and like some other people too, and like I think Jack Nicholson, like that was like also like a pretty good film too. music video directors, like I like Cole Bennett. One this other guy who did the babies like music videos, Real Goats. Like I think he's also like pretty dope too, like in that sense. And then .com Nirvana recently for like the new school stuff. Like it's been dope to see like what he's doing right now. And then as far as like Toronto directors, like I'm not crazy about Toronto directors too, but like the ones that I do notice that are actually pretty dope. Mac.downey, he's pretty good. There's this other guy named like Orazio. He's also like pretty dope too, and all that capital T films. I think also this other guy too, but I'll have to like think about it like later on too for a bit. So
No worries. Yeah, there's also Karina Evans on the come up right now. I don't know if you've seen her work, but I don't know, she's killing it. She worked on a lot of Drake videos among that, but now she's gone onto TV and
not true.
And I'm guessing her age, but I'm pretty sure she's like one of the youngest directors out there working right now. Like I know she directed some Why the Last Man, P Valley, and like I don't know. It's just I'm pretty sure she's younger than me, so it's just pretty insane to think about that.
I mean, Tiana Taylor too. She also directed like some good music videos as well too. I think Ava Dervani or something like that. I think she did like When They See Us. She's also pretty good as well too. And Lena Rafe, I think, who did like The Shy and like all the other shows, like another good director too. And yeah, I could go on for days too. But to speak more on part two right now. How did the Secodo Productions situation come about, and how was it like producing their content and working with them? Was it like a very great experience, like in that sense?
Yeah, Secodo. You know, I can't remember who had the idea originally. It's me and my two partners, and actually, Secodo is kind of all our last names, the first two letters put together. It became a running joke where when we were trying to do it, every name that we could think of was trademarked already. Whether it was some odd shop in the middle of nowhere or something in the city, like it just was taken. And my two partners, Jacob Ciro and Ryan Cowan. Secodo is Ciro SC, Cowan CO, and then my last name Downey Dio. Secodo, and originally started as a joke, and then we realized this actually kind of sounds somewhat professional. It's one of those obscure words that I don't know we thought would work out long term. So yeah, on trademarking that and starting a business. I guess it started with mainly me and Ryan. We both Jacob took the marketing program at Sheridan, and me and Ryan took the film program. And great people we worked with at Sheridan, but you find a lot of people want to be the director, DOP. Not many people want to be the producer. And me and Ryan actually really enjoyed being the producer. And we worked on a few projects together. And I can't remember the exact terms of how it came to be, but ended up talking, the three of us while hanging, Jacob just over, thought, why don't we just come together, create something? And Jacob was a great aspect because while he didn't study film, he had a marketing background. So he kind of was that secret weapon. We didn't really know too much about that industry directly, but when you come together, really worked out there. We started off definitely with more of a, I want to say passion projects, like, you know, everyone's doing for free, or if anything, we're spending our own money. God, the first big video we ever did was for an artist called Chromac, and he's gonna have to forgive me. I think he changed his name. He was an EDM artist, and it was solely friends, everyone kind of doing it for free or out of pocket, all that stuff. We got this old house, I remember. It was an EDM video, so it was a lot of dancing, all that. We used glow-in-the-dark face paint, and we had it basically designed. Our DP was this guy named Mark Smith, and the director was Jordan Davies, and great combo. They had this idea of kind of just panning, like it's one giant room, but different sections of the room are kind of different tones. So it was a lot of fun to kind of jump between this green room, red room, and blue room, but it's all the same big room, but just when you spin the camera, it gives that illusion. And that was a lot of fun. Jumping onto the biggest, the first kind of big label thing we ever did was, I don't know if you know the band Valley.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did the Closer to the Picture music video. Same team again. It was Mark and Jordan were directing this. But Mark had a relationship personally with Valley. And I don't know, we kind of made a good impression. They gave us a shot, and this is before they kind of blew up. Now I think Valley's touring the States consistently, doing big shows. I'm pretty sure they were at the Danforth last time they were in Toronto. But Closer to the Picture, we got a budget, but we wanted to make this the big shebang. So everyone kind of took a huge pay cut. We're going to put it all in there. Everyone wanted their resume pieces. And we pulled a lot of favors, a lot of friends. Like, if you watch the video, almost all the extras were kind of the acting class at Sheridan, because I already had that one connection from going to the acting class. So we went in there, pitched it to them. Got a lot of friends willing to come out. Kind of funny. Fun fact, the couple kissing at the beginning of that video, the male in that is Sukasa, a rapper actually as well. And I was calling out everyone I ever knew, and Sukasa was willing to come down and be in it with his girlfriend at the time. And I just remember like the whole time, like he's in this kind of indie pop rock, and like it does not match his music at all, but I don't know, he was a trooper and pulled it out for the whole day. But we rented this old mansion in Hamilton, got all these extras, got a smoke machine, huge crew. And again, we're shooting for the stars type deal. Like we wanted to do something special with this money. So I remember we did like a 12-hour day and we went hard, a little bit overtime. And I don't know, it turned out really well. Really enjoyed the video. The label seemed to be happy with it. And kind of that was the starting point that really launched us. Like after that, we had a label under our belt, so we could finally go to actual big labels and go like, here's our proof we know what we're doing for the most part. So that was really great. From there, like, I don't know, just odd here and there, like videos when we can. We've done from Ollie, we did Miles Costello, and Miles Costello is a great video as well, because that was a good story just doing that. It really comes down, like you probably know this, but the connections really do help, like just being a part of the scene, because that video required a movie theater. And movie theaters cost an arm and a leg to rent. And I knew a promoter, Matt, I'm going to say his last name wrong, Almeida, and him and his partner had bought the Grand Gerard movie theater, and he's a hip hop promoter. And I kind of DM'd him like, yo, man, remember when I shot some shows? I'd love to rent out this theater. And it wasn't even ready yet. They were still painting it. So they gave us a great price. I remember we showed up and like, he's still setting up the place, and like it wasn't even open, middle of nowhere. But I don't know, without that connection, we've never would have got a movie theater off our budget. So it really shows, like, I don't know, be friendly guys, like young creatives out there, young filmmakers. You forget, like, networking is everything. Like going to events, it sounds silly, but just being able to say you said hello to someone, they'll remember you as that nice guy that said hello. And I don't know, years from now, like, it's better to be that nice guy that said hello than just complete unknown. So I guess I can say is go to every event you can and just, I don't know, shake a lot of hands, guys, be polite, be that nicest guy in the room, because, you know, it'll take you places.
Nah, I definitely know what you mean. And, you know, I was like researching a little bit too, like with people like Ollie, like I think he's affiliated with Warner Music Canada right now. Like he's like blowing up like crazy too. And like you've done like his like videos for a bit too. Marshall Dane, like kind of like outside that realm, like country music, like it's like interesting to see too. And like, you know, even like up and coming artists like Gen 64, and I think also Keep in Touch. Like I was like seeing like some of the stuff too. And it's like interesting too, like how their styles kind of interact, but it still has that same effect, that same style, you know, Ollie being more like focused on him, like within like the wide angles, within like the close-ups too, with Gen 64, like all over the place, you know, more like a fisheye type camera and all that, you know, and then also Marshall, like Dane and all that, you know, very like simplified, very basic and all that too, and then keep in touch, like very interesting, like with like the wide angles too, and like everything else too. So it's like interesting to see like from what you're bringing and like how the color grading like is like also like very important too and all, you know.
Yeah, it really is. Like every artist has their own style, and like you kind of learn, one thing good about producing is you really learn how to work with different directors, different styles. You realize what director is good for this. Like some artists will kind of give you an idea of what they're looking for, and then you kind of find your guys that you know does that correctly. Like the guy that does all the Ollie videos, and they're mainly produced by Ryan Cowan. He usually pulls on those ones, but Brendan Bernard's the director for that, and like he's a very signature style. Definitely can go out there, but like you know what you're working with, like in the sense of like Brendan really does those great clean wides, all that stuff. I don't know, very inspirational I find to his videos. Like I don't know, they always have that tone of just like, I don't know, something bigger, if that makes sense. Like Ollie's very deep in his metaphors and all that stuff, so I find Brendan always goes well. While I don't know, I'm rambling again. You get different tones. Like everyone has their different vibes.
Exactly.
I haven't produced for this director, but Akil McKenzie I used to AD for a lot, and he's a lot more showmanship. He's a lot more big explosions, stuff like that. Like he's the party, and like Brendan's the poet, if it makes a kind of different thing right there. Both fantastic, don't get me wrong, and like definitely they can venture out if they need to, but like when you produce, you eventually learn to realize like everyone, like I don't know, every director has their own tone, their style, their vibes, like who they work with better versus who work with less and all that. So
Yeah. I think to close off on the whole like Secodo stuff,
Mhm.
like what was like the overall reaction from others like when you guys like released like those like amazing projects, or
Mhm.
like even like with the group projects? Have you like what have you like noticed that people like reacted like when they saw those videos?
Damn, I guess it was kind of like not sound cocky, but it definitely was. It did feel nice to finally be like, I don't know, I made it in some ways. Like for so long, you kind of dream of these big projects, and when they finally come out, they're racking up 100,000 views, if not more. I don't know. It's like it's pretty amazing. Like it's also just great being able to call up like family members and be like, "Yo, what happened?" All that. You definitely get some. I don't know, I always find it funny. You definitely get those people reaching out from high school that you weren't always as close with as before, saying like, "Yo, man, if you ever need to get some tickets, Mac, remember back in the day where we sat next to each other at
Yeah.
lunch once?" But I don't know. It kind of was also something for just me personally. Like for so long, you doubt yourself, and then
Yeah.
suddenly, I don't know. That first project comes out. The Valley one was probably the big one. It really made
Yeah.
us go, "Yo, we can do this." And
Yeah.
like Valley, like it was a great experience, but like it's scary working with big executives and labels, all that stuff, and like getting it completed. Um, kind of thinking of recognition, like it was kind of great. Like you get some old teachers from high school reach out to you, say congrats, and like I don't know, even just like I gotta go back to family. Like I don't know, the arts is always kind of that zone where your parents kind of like my parents supported me. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but you always get that sense of like they're kind of scared that you're not going to make it in some ways,
Yeah.
and it feels fantastic to finally go like, "Hey, Mom, we did it. Thank you for all the support. Hey, Dad, thanks for all the support." It worked out in the end, so
Yeah,
I don't know, I
no.
guess that's
And
it.
like,
That's it.
it kind of like exemplifies like the growth from there, because I feel like even like with the questions I've had, like it is like very like, simplified like on like the growth you've had like as a creative too. And I don't think like we have to explain it, but like the growth has been there, and you've noticed like from that start, like when you first
Mhm,
started like with photos, with videos, to working with like multi-level like production and like videography too, and like, you know, knowing these contracts and like interacting with the location, like the DP, the everything else to like the DOs, AOs, everything else too. It's
mhm,
amazing to kind of like see from there and all that.
mhm. Yeah, you really realize it takes an army to make a film.
Yeah, no, most definitely. And to get more onto this like special thing that you want to talk about too, tell me more about how this Toronto International Music Video Festival formed, and how you became like the festival director.
Okay, well, it was definitely something me, Ryan, and Jacob always kind of talked about. Um, it was always an idea. We always wanted to make a film festival. And I don't know, while digging, brainstorming, all that stuff, we kind of realized there's nothing really directly for music videos, at least out of the city. There's definitely festivals that kind of have like a section where they talk about
Yeah.
music videos, but there's never really kind of fully highlights it. And we also want to kind of give back in a lot of ways. Like, I'm now, right now, I kind of work as I work mainly as a kind of coordinator for the film industry. I've worked on a few Netflix shows, Sci-Fi Channel, so on and so forth. And I kind of got in the door with these music videos. Like the film industry is insanely hard to get into. Like there's only so many seats at the table type deal. Like only so many positions on every film. And not to say there's a lot of people like there's a lot of film kids out there. Like in the end, it's hard to kind of break out of the mold or I don't know, make an impression. And no one really talks about how music videos really are the best way for young creatives to kind of show what they got. Um, you make those short films in school and you think short films are going to instantly lead to a feature film, and they may. Like some guys, I'm not going to say don't do your short films, but music videos really are a great way to kind of 3 minutes, I don't know, 5 minutes, show it to a label, and it's easier to kind of get in that access point because then bigger studios may look at your music videos and go like, this guy's got an eye. He's a good director. These producers managed to actually pull this off and do within a decent budget. Also, not to shoot down, but music videos usually have a much tighter deadline.
Yeah.
So being able to go to like a bigger company and be like, we did this in 3 weeks, it really does show there. So back to the music video festival, I guess, is music videos. So many directors start their careers in music videos. Like I know David Fincher, Michael Bay. Like I'm sure there's more. I'm just blanking off the top of my head. But no one really talks about it. Like no one really talks about how like music videos is how they got their foot in the door, as well. No one really celebrates it. Like I don't know, there's so many talented music videos that kind of make their impression on pop culture, kind of go to the wayside, or there's ones that just never really get that recognition. Like I'm sure you've seen a music video online and it has like 10,000 views, but you're like, damn, this it's fantastic, but no one's really talking about it. So the music video festival is kind of our way. We wanted to celebrate this art form that gave us all careers, but it never really gets the spotlight it deserves. And as well, give back. Like, we plan on having some educational panels. We're going to have some directors break down like the whole process of from pitching to the label, making the budget, making the pitch deck is what we call it, where you kind of pitch the idea to the final product. And I don't know, really just kind of allow anyone who can show up, kind of ask questions, all that. Like, again, music videos are also that zone where no one's really teaching how that happens. Like, sure, you can know how to make a good video, but what's the actual process from sending that first email to the label, making the budget, paperwork, all that stuff? A lot of people don't fully know the full grasp. And like, we didn't even know at the beginning, to be honest. A lot of us were just kind of winging it, figuring it out as we go, calling up everyone we could think of to kind of give us some little advice. So I don't know, we're hoping this music video festival can kind of, first off, like teach some young kids, young creatives, how to really get their foot in the industry, music videos, and build from there. As well, the ones already have made great music videos, we want to showcase them. It's kind of venturing off, but we plan on doing awards for best of categories. And we want to do also what we call the selection screening, where our judges may not pick the best of the best, but we want to show kind of a selection of just, it'll come down to the final amount and how long, because, you know, if some videos 7 minutes and some are 3, we're going to have to cut down here and there. But we want to be able to show them off, you know, invite labels to the festival, invite artists to the festival. And, you know, they see this guy that may only have 100 followers, but he made this slammer music video and, you know, might open more doors for him and so forth and all that.
Yeah, no, I do definitely feel that it is like very like important as well too. And like, I've had people that actually tried it like on a smaller level too. I had a guy named Capital T Films, like I interviewed like some years back, who actually invited this guy named M-Works, who did some directing for like Robin Banks and Pressa and Casper and all those people. And they had like a panel just like some months back where they talked about the process of creating music videos, you know, getting into content creating, like how like the process for a music video works and everything else too. And it is like interesting to see like at a smaller level too, but like seeing it at a larger level like this, it is very interesting to like notice all the details, how to work with labels, how to work with independent companies, how to work with like finance companies, and also with other people too, with rentals and all that type of stuff too, like renting from the TDC, like renting from like you know, various like private like restaurants or private like franchises. And I'm glad to see it like, you know, even being panned out from there too as well. So
yeah, like I don't know, really just hoping to give back, like, you know, like, and also as well give back to the way, like, I don't know, I'm thinking back like 20-year-old me. I wish I had something like this where I could go there and learn the whole process, because you are flying blind for the most part in music videos until someone gives you the guidance. So hopefully we can give back in this way. And just really looking forward to it. It's been like a few years in the works of us figuring it out, finding some funds, just kind of finding the time as well. And I don't know, it feels weird, but it's real. It's finally happening right there.
Yeah. And I guess we could like explain more too. Like, what do you think it could bring to like the Toronto creative scene in that sense too? And do you feel that like everyone involved in the scene should be a part of like something like this too? Like, even with the hood like music video makers to like the indie ones to like the artists like from the streets to artists like from like the outside world too, and all that in that sense?
Yeah, we're definitely trying to. We also we're doing a mixer at the end of it. We're still figuring out the venue. It's probably gonna be one of the local bars nearby. But big thing we want to do is create atmospheres where young filmmakers can meet kind of young musicians and kind of collab there. Like I lucked out in a lot of ways. Like from shooting concerts, I met a lot of young musicians. You meet the openers, you know, they're looking for a video, and then I don't know, the stars align, and then we end up doing a project. But a lot of young creatives, a lot of young filmmakers, they may not have these opportunities to meet young musicians. And we're hoping this mixer can kind of like, I don't know, and also, I'm not gonna say, but a lot of filmmakers are shy. So we're hoping to kind of, I don't know, bring them together. So see if things click. Like, you know, a great goal or great thing that could happen is, we hope this happens, is, you know, some young filmmakers show up, young musicians, or maybe not young, but like new to the industry. They don't have the biggest pockets for music videos, but these filmmakers, you know, they're on the come up. They're willing to do it for less, and they're going to give it 200% because they want to make that impression on the industry. So we're hoping like young creatives, young filmmakers can meet these artists, you know, they get on the same page, you know, have a few drinks and
Yeah.
become good friends. The next thing you know, that musician now has his go-to filmmaker.
Yeah.
And this, he knows this filmmaker is not this guy. It's going to rip him off. This filmmaker is going to go the distance. And it kind of works in tandem. He gets a great music video, a new kind of lifelong partner type thing in the industry, while the filmmaker gets a great portfolio piece that's going to get out there. And I don't know, can kind of build from there. Because like, as I said before, we started off in the passion projects. Every filmmaker is going to start in it. No one likes to admit it, but you are going to do a lot of videos for free or for bare minimum because you just got to make that impression.
Yeah.
But yeah, meeting artists is hard. And like, we hope we can kind of create that environment where creatives talk and all that stuff and build from years to come. Like this year we are keeping to one day, but I'd love to build where we can actually have different days, pitch panels, stuff like that. I don't know, just kind of open the floodgates, but
Yeah, no,
pray
I
for
know
the
what you
best.
mean. You quoted something that I read before too. So you said, music videos are so important to a musician's success, yet we always found the medium to be left unappreciated. We hope to change that by giving them the spotlight they've always deserved. So like I think we've already explained this before, but like even like in that like blog quote,
Mhm.
tell me more about that and how it like kind of like resonates like in various like contexts from there and all that.
Yeah, I guess the big thing is like there is, there's the MTV Music Awards, Music Video Awards, stuff like that, but they're always like the top dog videos. The ones that like cost $17 billion to make and all that stuff. So we're hoping to bring recognition to the smaller guys that make these great videos that may are not getting the full spotlight. They're not getting those award or like MTV placements because they really are talented. Like everyone's seen some videos where you're like, damn, that was fantastic. But it's a smaller artist. It's not getting the worldwide traction. So I guess the goal is like, we are keeping it open to every different, like we have a lot of different categories and we're keeping it international so people can submit and all that stuff. And I guess the goal long-term is when these videos get shown, the festival builds and gets bigger. It becomes kind of like, okay, young creatives can now kind of, we got a Toronto International Music Video Award, or we're in the selection screening. It kind of builds, I hate saying the word clout, but kind of builds their clout, allows them to enter or allows them to kind of, God, what's the word looking for? Kind of
Builds like their portfolio, like in that sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
as well, just kind of have that recognition because in the end, like there's a lot of filmmakers, but you have that festival award or whatever it is on there. Maybe a bigger label is going to give that person now the time of day to at least pitch a video because in the end, like it's a hard industry to kind of break. Like there's a lot of established filmmaker, music video directors, but making that big jump to big labels from like the underground is very hard. And I like to believe our festival can kind of bring that recognition they deserve and allow them to build and I don't know, elevate their career from there.
Exactly. No.
And again, give back to the younger guys. Like we were them at one point and we're very grateful for the opportunities we got. But in the end, it was a lot of luck, a lot of just trying everywhere. I don't know, a lot of just cold calls. And I don't make it a little easier for those guys. Like I really wish it was easier for us at the time.
No, 100%. And to add my input on the situation too, I feel like with music videos nowadays too, like there's like no other medium to kind of like put it in as well too, because I remember back then we had like 106 in Park, we had MTV's like top 10 countdown, we had like Much Music, they would play music videos like on every other like block channel or block segment throughout that time. And nowadays too, like with a lot of like programs like being shut down to make room for like TV shows or like certain like content to be on there, like we don't really see it like on there anymore. Like YouTube is like the new MTV, BET, Much Music and all that too, because like a lot of people can like watch videos from there without like having to do anything else too. But like from that, it can only go as far as how big the artist is and all that too. So like let's say like you're a smaller artist too, like you're not gonna get that view counts, you're not gonna get like that much recognition like within that sense too. But like when you're putting it on an MTV or like on a BET or on a Much Music or on a channel like that, like on television too, like anyone can like watch it like whenever they want and all that too, like whether it's like a small music video, a big music video, a big artist, a smaller artist too, like there's always that medium for them to always kind of have it too. And like I think the closest one I've actually seen so far was with Rogers when they put it the whole like 4K like music video thing like on their channel, and they would play like certain artists from like a Drake to Ty Verdes to like a Sin to other people too. But it has to be more like within like other platforms too, like an MTV, a much BET like in that sense.
Yeah, like we're hoping to be that middle ground. Like, to go back to that, like a good comparison is like indie films. There's a lot of film festivals that cater to that and allow them to kind of branch out into doing the big studio features. We want to kind of be that stepping stone for young smaller creatives in the music video scene. You know, I don't know. It's like allow them to actually get their showcase and build
Yeah.
from there.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
hopefully
likewise.
maybe we're next time we'll be the next MTV or something like that at some
Yeah,
point.
nah, most definitely. And you know, if this executes like very well too, do you feel like it can bring an impact on the Toronto creative music scene in general,
Mhm.
or do you feel like there has to be like some other steps next in order to make it work?
It's definitely one of those we're gonna build by year. Like, I used to work with the Female Eye, and you kind of learn how film festivals work, and it really is a lot of every year you get bigger. You don't want to bite off more than you can chew, because in the end, you only have so much money in your pocket, stuff like that. As well, just you want to make it as best for what the scale it is. Like as we build, I guess the goal long term is we definitely want to get into more panels, more educational type stuff, bigger mixers, even like bringing live performances. You know, like right now, it's a 1 day festival. I'd love for it in years from now to be kind of a staple of the Toronto music scene. Like we have North by Northeast, we have Canadian Music Week, fantastic events, all that stuff. And I'd like to be a part of that. We like to be
Yeah.
kind of in that conversation when you get there. And it, you know, definitely will take from years, but I don't know, like keep them building. We also would love for it to really become that hub where young creatives, young musicians, all that stuff come together. And I don't know, it just becomes like a staple of it. Like, you know, kind of bring a tear to my eye 5 years from now, some young musician and young filmmaker. It's like, yeah, I remember 5 years back when we got in the selection series and it opened that door with Warner Bros. And all that stuff. And like, you know, that's the dream right there. I start crying right there. But
exactly.
I don't know. We'd love to be in those leagues right there. And it's definitely going to be I don't know, take it year by year, slowly build. One thing we want to do is called the music video initiative. It's going to come down to how much money and sponsorship we can get this year, but we'd love to build into it next year for sure. Is we're kind of young, we're going to kind of pick a musician and basically we're going to allow young filmmakers to pitch to them an idea. We can supply the budget and then the musician will kind of pick the best idea and it leads to a young filmmaker being able to make a real budgeted music video for an established artist and build from there. Like that's one of our big goals right now and hoping to build into that next year, if not this year, if things work out. But I don't know, just expanding is just big thing. Like as much as we want to do the awards, I really want to cement that we are really trying to go in the educational aspect. We really want to open those doors to aspects people can learn about that. Again, we never really knew when we were getting in the industry. So I get that.
Yeah, no, most definitely, man. No, I definitely understand like what you mean in that sense too. And I think like with some other topics that we have right now, as we finished the whole TIMVF thing, how do you deal with your mental health as a person in your position with the amount of projects you work on? Have you ever felt at times it could be like overwhelming in that sense?
I definitely, God, there's videos like, we've worked with great executives, labels, all that stuff, but there is that fear when you know, especially when you're a 21, 22-year-old kid and you're working with doing emails with someone in their 50s that's been in the industry for 30 plus years, seen everything, you know, it gets a bit scary, especially when you don't know it at all what you're doing. I guess one thing you got to remember is like, it is hard industry. Like a lot of young filmmakers, including myself, used to really, I don't know, you really doubt yourself. You get mad at yourself when things don't work out. You got to remember not every label is going to say yes. Not every pitch is going to go great. Like sometimes it doesn't mesh. You know, the ideas don't work. Sometimes they can't meet the budget and you got to work with it. One thing I do find you got to learn as a filmmaker is to work with less. We always shoot for the stars in your first video. You got to realize you're probably not going to get more than, I don't know, a couple hundred, 2,000 sometimes in your first video. And you got to realize like you may not be able to get that red camera that you want that costs, I don't know, 20 grand to buy, a couple grand to rent, all that stuff. Mental health, like, I guess it really also understand when to take breaks.
Yeah.
I work with a lot of people that don't know how to turn off. Like it's an industry where until you kind of decide you're going to take a vacation, it never will happen. Like I could go from job to job to job until you really establish, okay, I'm going to take some time off. You got to understand, you got to take those days off for yourself as well. You know, find hobbies. Like, I found I used to like, I've gotten better with it, but when you watch films as a filmmaker or anything like that, you kind of find, why am I not doing that? You have that mentality in the back of your head, like, oh shit, he did this. So I definitely find hobbies. I play some games. I love comic books. I still read a fair bit. I love my superheroes.
Yeah.
I love my Marvel. Probably have to give up on my filmmaker card because I said that. But
Nah, I know what you mean. I always have this segment to speak with like other people on like what types of like content they're using and all that. So like as far as like with music, with movies, with podcasts, with books,
Mhm.
like what were like some recent ones that you've been checking out recently that you could recommend?
God, recently, I don't know, to get back into, I know Marvel's doing the Secret Invasion show, so I'm rereading the Secret Invasion comic. If I had to recommend I reread last year and I still think it's my favorite comic series ever. Why the Last Man? I don't know if it had a TV show that lasted one season, so I say just go straight to the comic. It was written by Brian K. Vaughan. I finished it at least probably 4 times in my lifetime. It's 10 volumes if you're just going to buy the volumes, but I don't know. It's about a world where all men except for one guy dies, so it's just women that run the world. And it kind of takes the realistic approach, I like to say. It does not become an Axe commercial. I always have to clarify when I pitch it. But it kind of deals with the real aspects. Like, I don't know. I was really great as a kid when I read it when I was like 13 because, I don't know, that sounds cheesy, but it definitely made me more of a feminist because you're a young kid, you learn about this stuff. Like, you never realized how much of the White House or different governments are like mainly men. Imagine if suddenly they all died. Like it's things like that. Going to the Middle East where there's less positions of power in women. Imagine if just all the men died instantly. It's a very interesting story because it takes that realistic approach. Like I remember they made a great point in the comic how like I think it was like 80% of truck drivers, something like that, are men. Someone's gonna figure out I'm wrong, but I'm just giving the rough number I can think of. But like imagine if just suddenly they were all gone. Like they may figure like the comic does deal with figuring it out, but like it deals with like that direct aspect of like the next day. Where do you go from there? I could ramble about this comic, but it really is fantastic.
Yeah.
TV shows, all that. What else have I been watching? Recently finished Future Man. Again, I like my weird sci-fi stuff, but Future Man was a Hulu show. Got 3 seasons. Created by, or at least produced by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg. And it's kind of an R-rated Bill and Ted in a weird way. Stars Josh Hutcherson, but yeah, it's kind of about a time travelers as they're trying to save the universe, but it's got that R-rated Seth Rogen flair. So a lot more silly, a lot more crude. That's why I kind of describe it as R-rated Bill and Ted. Like they have aspects where like he's dating Jesus and stuff like that, or I don't know, they go back in time and mess up the timelines. Oh no, great little watch. I think it's on Disney Plus still. Like I can't remember if it got removed during the recent purge they had, but what are you gonna do? Recently read The Last Ronin. That was that TMNT comic about what if the 3 of the turtles had perished. It's kind of the what if story in the future. I don't want to give too much away on that one, but if you're a big Turtles fan, and I used to be growing up a lot, this is kind of the R-rated adult Turtles comic. It's a one-off, so don't think you have to commit to like 100 issues, but highly recommend it. I think it's getting a video game right now, but yeah, The Last Ronin. TMNT.
Nah, most definitely. Futurama actually, they're on Hulu right now, so they're coming back with a new season, and like it details like everything regarding to COVID to the whole like crypto situation too, and like a lot of like other stuff too. So like that's like definitely like a watch to check out. I'm not really big on TV nowadays too, but I do watch some stuff on YouTube. There's like this show called like The Big O, which is like an anime show about I think former police officer and all that who tackles through with like a lot of like day-to-day stuff. Like that's like pretty good to check out too. Podcasts and other stuff too. I mean, I listened to like the most recent ones I've watched were like Soft White Underbelly, which isn't really like a podcast, but like, you know, more so on Mark Leda. Shout out to him, who kind of interviews like a lot of people who are going through like different experiences, you know, homelessness, prostitution, a lot more. Like I definitely recommend that too. Off the record with DJ Academics, I know like this might be like controversial, but there were like some good episodes from there. And then I think Tales of the Town, which is like a podcast more about like Oakland culture and like the history of like the city itself too, from like the Hella Black podcast. That's like also something I could like recommend to like everyone else too and all that too. So
I feel you. Like I even grew up with like a lot of DJ Academics as well, and I understand it. I find he's one of those guys where like I may not agree with some of his opinions, but I do give him credit for being real for all this time. Like he never really had that sellout moment. I find like, but yeah, no, I'll say I do not agree with all his opinions, but you know, in the end, like I don't know, sometimes you need different opinions, all that stuff. You disagree with them, but you know, he's had some great interviews in the past, and I've always enjoyed that.
Nah, most definitely.
Going back to his
Yeah.
YouTube days where he used to
True,
just
true.
play clips and like repeat the whole time with his background audio.
Yeah. Nah, most definitely, man. And you know, within like Toronto and the GTA too, like it's been kind of buzzing right now, but there are some kind of cutbacks too with Rolling Loud not coming to Toronto this year and a whole lot of other stuff too. But how do you feel about it right now at the moment? Do you feel that there should be some changes in the direction of where the scene should go to, or do you feel like it's fine the way it is?
You know, COVID definitely made a huge stink on a lot of things. I know some venues went under and all that. Like I think the Mod Club's now a new name. I think it's the Access Club, but correct me if I'm wrong, guys, in the comments. But I do think it's, I don't know, it's a hit or miss zone. Like I do think it's getting better. They're gonna have to forgive me. I know Live Nation announced a few small festivals that I think are really nice. One I think is Don Tolliver's headlining. Blanking right there. You know, Rolling Loud, we did have 1 year of it. Then I actually got to shoot it and it was a great experience. I know they said they're going to come back and I hope they do because it really does a lot for the city. Like the way they got, you know, like Rolling Loud, I don't know, I find it does get its hate online here and there for how it approaches itself, but you got to give them credit where they do, where they deserve it. There's not many festivals that have that many local indie artists that kind of start the day. Like I think it was like at least all the stages up until like, I think 3 p.m. was all local indie artists. And like a lot of people that was, I don't know, that's a big moment for a lot of artists and not a lot of festivals do that. So, you know, shout out Rolling Loud for that. Yeah, it's definitely, I'd like to believe it's getting better. I think there should be some more showcase shows or at least more appreciation for them. There's a lot in the city and I used to go to a lot more. There's these great guys that do a lot of great things. The Out of Line guys, they used to do this series called Volume and I think they still do some other stuff here. I really hope those guys or these showcase shows get more recognition they deserve because they really are how you get the independent talent out there. Like, out in a small world, years back, it was actually with the Drew York documentary. We shot a Drew Howard show and he was part of 88 Glam and the openers were Killy and, rest in peace. I believe Sega actually passed away, his partner in crime, but, they were the openers right there. And I remember that show being like, not the shit, they're doing great now, don't get me wrong, but I remember that show had 20 people. It was at Supermarket. And like years later, they're now, I don't know, doing full on tours. And I don't know, I find a lot of people got to learn to appreciate these showcase shows. I find at least a lot of my friends, a lot of people I know, they're not going out to them. And I'd say like guys, like next time you're on Instagram, you're scrolling through a page and you see a showcase show of like 10 artists you ever heard of, you know, give it a shot. You know, you'd be surprised. You might find some new artists. You might find some new friends. Like go back to some people I know, like going back to shooting concerts. The first concert I ever did shoot was at Less Than Level, which is a small bar in Oakville. Robbie G was doing a show there. And I don't know, I thought I'd give it a shot. There wasn't many people there. Robbie's gotten a lot bigger since then, but met some kind of lifelong industry friends. Sue Casa was one of the openers. I don't know, if I didn't go to that showcase show, I wouldn't have made that connection. And Sue Casa's opened doors for me. I like to believe I've opened doors for him. And he'll get a kick out of this. I always find the story funny. Going years back, you probably have similar stories, but when you're younger and a lot more shy, I remember went to the restrooms, the wash my hands and all that stuff. Like, I don't know. And Sue Casa came in there and I remember I was taking the longest time to wash my hands because I wanted to be able to like to walk out at the same time to kind of say hello. And he kind of realized, you know, Mac, you're taking like you're washing your hands thoroughly. It's a good 2 minutes of washing. But, you know, going to the showcase shows, you meet a lot of people. Like, if I didn't go to that show, I wouldn't have met this friend that kind of has helped me a lot in my career. I would have discovered new music that like I really do resonate. And like, I don't know, it kind of goes hand in hand. Everyone knows each other. You build that big community, especially if young creatives that want to get in there, whether it's graphic design, you know, what do they want to make album art? What are the producers, whether they're mixers, all that stuff. Go to those showcase shows. Like, it sounds silly, but just go, you'll meet people, whether it's even just taking that Instagram story there, tagging everyone, they'll remember you as that guy that went to the show that had 30 people there and it'll open doors along the lines, down the line. But yeah, I guess that's it's not really a change, but more just, it's not really a change of direction, it's more of the community, I'd say. A lot of music heads, you know, out there. Come on, go to those showcase shows. I'm rambling right now, but definitely go to them, guys.
Nah, most definitely, man. And I guess we'll talk later more on the end too. But do you have any regrets in your life or overall, or do you regret nothing?
Sorry, I'm going to cut you off there, bud. My bad. But regrets wise, I don't got too many I can think of. Like, you learn a lot from your mistakes, like going to other filmmakers. Like, there'll be days where things go wrong. Like, I've had a lot of videos where things go wrong and you have to kind of adapt on the spot. I'd say the only regret is I wish I started earlier. Like, again, I had a lot of self-doubt. I thought I had to kind of fully finish school before I'd have the full understanding. And I don't know. I feel like I could have started a few more years earlier, but you live and learn. Those years I spent more enjoying myself and getting to know who I am, I guess. So those good college years, but I don't think any regrets. You can always nitpick little things like, why didn't I do this paperwork that way? Why didn't I say this, that?
Yeah.
I don't know. I remember like I was informal with one label years back, and I remember he got upset that I said bud a lot. It's kind of my go-to. I guess I'm Canadian, but my go-to is like, hey, bud.
Yeah.
And then he was kind of like, I'm a 50-year-old man, Mac. Just call me by my name. And he wasn't upset. I don't want to make him sound like he was a diva, but like I remember sitting there, it's like, maybe I shouldn't have said bud every time I walked in, hey, bud. Oh, it's all good, bud.
Yeah, no, I got you.
But I don't know, learn from your mistakes, man. Like in the end, like again, for young filmmakers, like no video is ever going to go perfect. There's always going to be something you have to roll with the punches and you learn from it. Like I've learned a lot of just how to last minute make deals, last minute changes. You got to learn how to cut shots and make things work. You got to learn how to talk to people and kind of keep a leveled head. Like at least for producer wise or AD, assistant directing, I sometimes do, or kind of on music videos for other people. But you got to learn to kind of keep that level head, at least in that space. Things will go wrong. And you got to be the one that everyone's looking at to go like, it's all good, bud. We're going to figure it out. It's all good, man. We'll figure it out. Work around that. But I'm trying to think of regrets, but I guess that's it. Maybe, I don't know, maybe started earlier is the biggest one.
Nah, I definitely know what you mean. And do you have any like closing remarks you would like to say, and where can they follow you like on social media?
You can follow me at Instagram. It's mac.downey, mac.downey. You can follow the Toronto International Music Video Festival at TIMVF. Yeah, that's sorry. I'm learning my acronyms too, but that's for all social medias. Secodo is just Secodo on all the Instagrams there. Definitely give the Toronto International Music Video a follow, guys. We're still new. We're looking for some new followers. As well for young creatives, like feel free to send me a DM, guys. Like, I don't know, I've helped out a few people in the past. Like if you ever have just odd questions, I try and be the person I wish I knew when I was younger. Like, even if it's a dumb question, guys, or nothing's really a dumb question. Like, even it's just how to word an email to a label. Like, I don't know, I'm always around, guys. Always love to help out, I don't know, whatever you can. Give some shout outs to some artists. I've said Sucast a few times, but Myers Clarity has always been a great guy as well. Worked with him for a long time. Gen 64, Kwame, I'll go back to him. I don't know, a lot of great creatives out there. Drew York, I definitely got to give that shout out to. I don't think I'd be here without him helping with that music video, that documentary, as well, just being a great guy. Like he really did show that this industry is full of great people, down to earth people, just real people. So, shout out Drew York. I think he's touring again with Talk, so check out Talk as well, guys. Sorry, guys, I'm just rambling now. So, hey, Josh, feel free to shut me down.
True. I think we're all good from there and all that, but nah, Mac, it's been like a
it's good, bud.
Pleasure, like having you on and all that too for a bit too.
Hey,
and
thank you, man. I really do appreciate it, guys. Like this is a great experience. Had a great time. Quite the studio, man. I'm still a bit overwhelmed by this whole setup right there.
Yeah.
But hopefully I get better and less rambly in the future, guys. So
I mean, we're all good. I mean, we'll have more to discuss like later on soon. I'll probably invite you on to like another podcast soon, so we'll definitely have more talks and all that. But yeah, I mean, that's all I gotta say. Episode 40 of TLOY Talks. Josh, also known as Yashu, mac.downey, you know the drill. Signing off.